Welcome to the truth most people ignore. What you do in the first 60 minutes of your morning can shape the quality of your entire life. Every single day, your brain wakes up ready to be programmed. It's like fresh soil. What you plant first matters. Step 1, get sunlight in your eyes. This isn't some feel-good trend. This is neuroscience. When morning light hits your eyes, it resets your circadian rhythm. Your brain releases cortisol at the right time, sharpening your focus. Your body knows it's time to be awake, alert, and driven. Don't skip this. Don't check your phone first. Go outside. Let the light hit your retina. It's your body's natural wake-up switch. Step 2, expose yourself to short-term discomfort. Cold showers, breath work. Even a 2-minute icy rinse can flood your brain with dopamine, the chemical of motivation. When you face discomfort early, you train your mind to handle stress later. You don't run from challenges, you run toward them. Step 3, move your body. You don't need a gym, just move. Walk, stretch, do push-ups. You're not just exercising your muscles, you're activating your nervous system. Movement increases blood flow, oxygenates your brain, and wakes up the warrior inside you. Step 4, be silent. Just for 5 minutes, close your eyes, breathe, watch your thoughts. The world is chaotic, but you don't have to be. Practicing mindfulness in the morning rewires your brain's reactivity. You become less reactive and more intentional. That's how leaders are built from within. Step 5, fuel your brain. Before caffeine, before noise, before chaos, hydrate, drink water. Get real nutrients. Feed your body what it needs to focus, not crash. When your brain is nourished, your decisions are sharper, your discipline stronger. And finally, step 6, do it again tomorrow and the day after, because your brain loves patterns. Repetition builds identity. And once your identity shifts, your behavior follows. You're no longer someone who trees to wake up early. You are someone who leads the day. You are someone who controls their mind, not the other way around. Don't underestimate the power of small actions done daily. Don't leave your morning to chance. Don't wake up and fall into your phone, your stress, or your past. Rise. Direct your mind, command your body, create your future. Do THIS every morning and watch your life transform. When you wake up in the morning, your brain and body are not yet fully synced with the environment. You may open your eyes, check the time, or roll over and scroll through your phone, but internally, your biological systems are still adjusting. What most people don't realize is that there is a brief window after waking up, a window where you can take a powerful, natural action that will shift your entire day into focus and energy. That action is simple, free, and backed by hard science. Go outside and expose your eyes to sunlight. This one practice, this one small shift can transform your mental clarity, energy levels, emotional state, and even long-term health. Morning sunlight is not just a source of warmth or light. It's a biological trigger that activates your brain's most important systems. When natural light enters your eyes, specifically the blue light wavelengths found in the early part of the day, it hits a group of specialized cells in the retina called intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells. These cells are not involved in vision, they don't help you see, but they do something even more powerful. They communicate directly with a part of your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the master clock that controls your circadian rhythm. Your circadian rhythm is your internal 24-hour clock. It regulates everything from when you feel alert to when you feel tired, when hormones are released, when your body is ready to digest food, even how your immune system responds to threats. But this clock is not self-running, it needs calibration. And the signal it uses to calibrate itself is light. Not just any light, natural sunlight. Indoor light is not strong enough to trigger this powerful response. That's why walking outside, even for just 5 to 10 minutes in the morning, can do what no supplement, no energy drink, no motivational quote can do. It tells your brain, the day has started. Wake up. It's time to perform. Once your eyes receive this light, a cascade of changes begins. Your brain stops producing melatonin, the sleep hormone, allowing your body to feel more alert. Cortisol levels rise, not the kind of cortisol that causes stress, but the kind that promotes alertness, focus, and energy. You feel alive, grounded, and clear. Dopamine, another key neurotransmitter, starts to increase. This sets the tone for motivation, drive, and a positive outlook. These are not just mood changes. They are neurochemical changes that prime your nervous system for high performance. And the beauty of this ritual is that it doesn't require perfection. You don't need a specific type of sun or a cloudless sky. Even on overcast mornings, outdoor light is vastly stronger than indoor bulbs. The key is to avoid filtering it through windows, sunglasses, or car windshields. Direct exposure to your eyes without looking directly at the sun is what counts. Just step outside, walk your dog, stand on your balcony. Sip your tea facing the sky. Those few minutes are your mental ignition switch. Why does this matter in the bigger picture? Because how you start your day shapes how your brain processes everything that follows. Think about how many people start their morning scrolling through notifications, reacting to emails, or consuming stress before they've even taken a breath. That's like walking into a battlefield with no armor. But if you give yourself light, if you give your brain that clean signal from nature, you're sending a different message: I'm in control. I lead my day. I protect my mind. There's more exposure to morning sunlight also anchors your sleep cycle. When your body receives early light, it knows to start a countdown that leads to natural melatonin production about 14 to 16 hours later. That means better sleep at night, deeper, more restorative sleep without pills or hacks. Better sleep leads to better recovery, better mood, and sharper thinking. And all of this begins with the simple act of stepping outside in the morning. And if you're someone who struggles with anxiety or brain fog, this habit becomes even more powerful because your autonomic nervous system, the system that controls stress and calm, listens to your circadian rhythm. When your internal clock is synced with the outside world, your stress hormones are better regulated, your mood is more stable, your ability to stay focused under pressure improves. Morning sunlight becomes a natural stabilizer, helping you feel grounded in your body and confident in your mind. Athletes, entrepreneurs, top performers, they're learning this. They're building this into their routines, not because it's trendy, but because it works. Because your biology doesn't respond to motivation alone, it responds to rhythm, to light, to real-world inputs that tell the brain how to perform. Morning sunlight is one of the few inputs that speaks directly to your brain's control center. It doesn't ask for your opinion or your mood. It simply tells your system, go, wake up. Lock in, and here's the truth: this isn't optional if you want to operate at your best. This is essential. The science is not vague or speculative. It's consistent and solid. Yet most people are walking around sleep-deprived, unfocused, emotionally volatile, and drained, wondering why their coffee isn't working, why their supplements aren't enough, why they can't stay disciplined. And the answer might be as simple as this: you're not giving your brain the light it needs to run the program. So build it in. Make it non-negotiable. Wake up and go to the window. Better yet, open the door. Let your eyes feel the day. Let your brain feel the signal, and watch what happens after 7 days, after 30 days, after 90 days. Your mind becomes sharper, your energy rises earlier, your sleep deepens, your thoughts slow down, and most importantly, you begin to feel like the version of yourself you've been chasing because your brain is finally aligned with your goals. In the end, success isn't just about mindset, it's about biology. Align your biology with the rhythm of nature and your mindset becomes unstoppable. You don't just think better, you become better. And it all begins with the first light of day. Every day you have a choice. You can seek comfort or you can build strength. And often the difference between the two lies in what you choose to do when your mind tells you this is uncomfortable. Cold exposure is a practice that trains your brain to lean into that discomfort, not because you love pain, but because you want growth. And make no mistake, this is not about torturing yourself. It's about activating one of the most powerful neurochemical systems in your body, the dopamine system, and learning how to master your response to stress. When you expose your body to cold, whether it's a cold shower, an ice bath, or simply standing in the cool morning air, your nervous system lights up. At first, your brain wants you to pull back. Your heart rate rises, your breathing speeds up, your body says, get warm. Escape this. But if you stay calm, if you breathe deeply, if you choose to remain present instead of panicking, something powerful happens. Your dopamine levels begin to rise, not for a few seconds, but for hours. Dopamine is not just a pleasure chemical. It is the molecule of motivation. It fuels drive, effort, and long-term pursuit. And cold exposure creates a unique pattern. The dopamine release is delayed, but sustained. That means you feel more focused, more alive, more alert, not during the cold, but after it. This creates a natural feedback loop. You push through discomfort, and on the other side, you get clarity, confidence, and motivation. That's how you build discipline, not through punishment, but through chemistry, through biology aligned with intention. The real benefit, however, isn't just in the dopamine. It's in what happens to your will. Willpower isn't something you're born with, it's something you train. And every time you voluntarily expose yourself to cold, you are teaching your brain that discomfort is survivable. You are overriding the ancient circuits that tell you to flee, and you're building new ones that say, I can face this. That training becomes strength you can call on when life throws real challenges your way. Imagine you begin each morning with a 2-minute cold shower. It's hard. It's shocking. But you do it anyway. You focus on your breath, you stay calm, and you endure. You step out not just clean, but transformed. That single act of self-command carries into your day. When you're tempted to skip a workout, your mind says you didn't skip the cold bite. When you're faced with conflict, your nervous system is already trained to stay composed. Cold builds a kind of inner armor, a calmness under chaos that others notice and you feel. What's more, regular cold exposure has been shown to reduce inflammation, improve immune function, and even enhance metabolic activity. But the most powerful benefit remains psychological, because we live in a world that is addicted to comfort, heated seats, climate control, instant delivery, scrollable distractions. All of it makes us soft, not just physically, but mentally. We forget what it feels like to be tested. And cold is the great reminder. It reminds you that you are not fragile. You are adaptable. You are capable of enduring and overcoming. There's no ego in this practice. You don't do it to prove anything to anyone. You do it to remind yourself that fear is temporary, but strength is permanent. And the more you choose that temporary discomfort, the more you rewire your identity. You stop being someone who avoids hard things and start becoming someone who faces them. That shift day after day builds the kind of confidence no one can take from you. You also start to notice your emotional resilience increase. Things that used to bother you don't stick as much. Stress rolls off your back. Your perspective widens. Because when your nervous system becomes more flexible, your thinking becomes clearer. You don't react to life, you respond to it. And that's the difference between surviving and leading. So yes, cold is uncomfortable, but it is also a mirror. It shows you who you are and who you can become. And it gives you the chance every single day to choose growth over comfort, strength over ease, mind over matter. You don't need to suffer. You just need to step in just for a minute, just to prove to yourself, I can. And the best part is this: you don't have to wait weeks or months to feel the results. You'll feel it immediately. That rush of clarity, that alertness in your eyes, that energy in your chest. It's not magic. It's science. It's your biology doing what it was designed to do when tested. And the more you return to the cold, the more it becomes a ritual, a sacred reminder that you are not your weakness. You are your willingness. This isn't about the cold. It's about the choice. The choice to face resistance and push through. The choice to set your tone instead of letting the world set it for you. The choice to prime your brain, your body, your spirit for greatness. Not with noise, not with distraction, but with discipline. And that discipline, once built, doesn't just change your mornings. It changes your life. Let me know when you're ready for the expansion of the third keynote. Daily movement primes your nervous system for energy and focus. Movement is not just about building muscle or burning calories. At its core, movement is communication, a dialogue between your body and your brain. Every time you move, especially first thing in the morning, you send a signal to your nervous system. It's time to turn on. It's time to engage. It's time to perform. That signal is not subtle. It changes your blood flow, your hormonal output, your alertness, and most importantly, your mindset. The moment you begin to move, everything begins to shift, and that shift sets the foundation for your entire day. Many people think of exercise as a task to check off, something separate from their mental life. But in reality, your physical activity directly influences your cognitive ability, your emotional regulation, and your energy levels. This is because movement activates the motor cortex and the spinal cord, which in turn stimulate the release of key neuromodulators like norepinephrine, dopamine, and serotonin. These are the exact chemicals responsible for alertness, motivation, and mood stabilization. When you move your body, you aren't just training your muscles, you are literally lighting up your brain. And the science is clear. Even a short burst of movement, 3 to 10 minutes, can prime your brain for hours of improved attention, better decision making, and enhanced memory retention. That's why the best way to start your morning is not by sitting still, but by moving, walking, stretching, doing bodyweight exercises, jumping rope, or even dancing. The type of movement matters less than the intention behind it. When you wake up your body, your brain follows. Your nervous system thrives on rhythm and feedback. Morning movement increases heart rate and respiration, which enhances oxygen delivery to the brain. That oxygen is fuel. It helps clear away sleep inertia, that mental fog many people carry with them for hours after waking. When you move early, you eliminate that fog and replace it with clarity. You become sharper, more aware, more emotionally stable. Your mind starts operating with precision, not confusion. And there's a deeper truth here: movement is freedom. When you move, You reconnect with the primal design of your body. You weren't built to sit in a chair for 10 hours a day, scrolling and reacting. You were designed to move with strength, fluidity, and purpose. And when you reclaim that design, even for just a few minutes each morning, you reclaim a part of yourself that the modern world has tried to silence. There is something powerful about the discipline of daily movement. It builds consistency. It teaches you to lead your body instead of being led by your emotions. You wake up tired. You move anyway. You wake up unmotivated. You move anyway. And the act of moving becomes a declaration. I choose momentum. I choose action. I choose life. You stop waiting for energy to come to you, and you start creating it from within. Movement also teaches presence. Whether you're going for a walk, doing push-ups, or stretching on the floor, your attention is brought back into your body. You feel your breath, your heartbeat, the ground beneath your feet. In that presence, stress melts, worry fades. The future and the past lose their grip, and you return to the power of now. This is more than physical training. This is mental alignment. And once you've felt it, you'll never want to start your day any other way. And if you think you're too busy to move, understand this. Movement creates time. It sharpens your focus, increases your efficiency, and boosts your creativity. The 10 minutes you spend moving in the morning might give you back 2 hours of mental clarity throughout the day. It's not a cost. It's an investment. And like any smart investment, the returns compound. Day after day, week after week, you become someone who moves with purpose, thinks with clarity, and acts with intention. You also begin to feel more emotionally stable. Morning movement activates the parasympathetic nervous system post-exercise, the system responsible for calm recovery and emotional regulation. That means you're not just more energized, you're more resilient. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when stress hits at work, when challenges arise, you're less reactive. Your nervous system has already been trained. You've already practiced regulating tension through breath and movement. You've already told your mind, I'm in control. And here's what most people miss. Movement is identity. Every time you move with purpose, you reinforce the belief, I'm someone who shows up for myself. And over time, that belief becomes a core part of who you are. You don't just move to get fit. You move to stay grounded, clear, and powerful. It's not about appearance. It's about presence. Movement gives you the mental edge to navigate your day from a place of strength, not reaction. Even if you start small, a 5-minute walk outside, a short stretching session, a few yoga poses, the effects are real. Over time, your brain adapts, your energy baseline rises. Your self-talk improves. You stop saying, I can't, and start saying, I already did. Because movement is momentum, and momentum changes everything. It gets you out of your head and into your body. It quiets doubt. It awakens courage. It prepares you for life. And in the end, that's the mission, not just to feel good, but to be ready. Ready for opportunity, ready for challenge, ready for greatness. Movement is not optional for high performance. It's essential. It's the foundation. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need fancy equipment. You need the will to begin and the discipline to continue. One day at a time, one step at a time. Because the world doesn't wait for you to feel ready. But when you start each day with movement, you won't need the world to wait. You'll already be moving forward. We live in a world that constantly pulls our attention in every direction. Notifications, deadlines, conversations, worries, all flooding into the mind before we've even taken our first breath of the day. The nervous system, when constantly exposed to this overstimulation, starts to operate in defense mode. You become reactive instead of intentional, tense instead of clear, busy instead of effective. But there is one practice that can transform this chaotic rhythm into calm, controlled mindfulness. Not as a vague concept or a luxury reserved for quiet retreats, but as a daily practice that rewires your relationship with stress, builds mental clarity, and unlocks a new level of grounded productivity. Mindfulness is the act of becoming fully present. It is the skill of observing your thoughts and emotions without becoming consumed by them. It's not about forcing the mind to go blank. It's about giving the mind the space to breathe. When practiced consistently, even for just a few minutes each morning, mindfulness begins to change the way your brain processes the world. You stop living in a constant loop of mental noise and start creating space between stimulus and response. That space is where clarity lives. That space is where calm is built. From a biological standpoint, mindfulness activates regions in the brain responsible for emotional regulation, particularly the prefrontal cortex, which is involved in decision-making, focus, and self-awareness. It also downregulates the amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for the fear and stress response. When you sit in silence, observe your breath, and simply allow thoughts to pass without attachment, You are literally training your brain to disengage from panic and engage with presence. This is not spiritual theory. This is neuroplasticity in action. And the benefits extend far beyond the moment of practice. You begin to notice that the little things, the things that used to bother you, no longer derail your mood. Traffic doesn't throw you off. An unexpected message doesn't spike your anxiety. You become the eye of the storm, calm, grounded, and aware, no matter what's happening around you. That's the power of mindfulness. It's not that stress disappears. It's that your relationship to stress changes. You stop being ruled by it. You learn to observe it, breathe through it, and respond with intelligence rather than emotion. Morning is the best time to build this muscle, because your brain is most impressionable after waking. What you feed it first, whether chaos or calm, sets the tone for the rest of the day. Mindfulness allows you to begin your morning with ownership. It's the difference between waking up and being dragged into the world versus waking up and stepping into your own awareness first. Even 5 minutes of silence, eyes closed, attention on your breath, it sends a signal to your nervous system, we're safe, we're present, we're focused. That signal lowers cortisol, balances your heart rate, and enhances your capacity for clear thought. But mindfulness isn't limited to sitting still. It can be infused into everything you do. Walking without your phone, feeling each step. Drinking water and actually tasting it. Washing your face and noticing the temperature of the water. These moments, when done with awareness, become micro practices that strengthen your neural control over attention. And attention in the modern world is everything. If you can direct your attention, you can master your focus, your energy, your choices, and ultimately your results. Over time, mindfulness becomes less of a practice and more of a presence. It becomes who you are, calm under pressure, clear in chaos, centered in noise. You don't chase productivity by doing more. You create productivity by being more present in everything you do. One task at a time, one conversation at a time. That presence becomes your power and people feel it. You become the one who listens deeply, works intentionally, and makes decisions with clarity rather than haste. And there's another layer to mindfulness, self-awareness. When you take time each day to observe your thoughts, you start to notice patterns. You recognize recurring stories you tell yourself, the doubts, the worries, the assumptions. You begin to see how often your mind races ahead or loops behind. And in seeing those patterns, you create the ability to change them. You stop believing every thought. You stop reacting to every emotion. And that gap between reaction and awareness becomes the foundation of your emotional intelligence. This is critical, especially in high-stress environments. Whether you're a leader, a student, an entrepreneur, or an athlete, your ability to stay composed, focused, and aware under pressure will determine your long-term success. Mindfulness is not a retreat from life. It is training for life. It teaches you how to show up with presence when others are overwhelmed, how to make wise decisions when others are panicking, how to keep your internal state strong, no matter how loud the external world gets. And this is something you can begin right now. No equipment, no fancy setup, just your breath and your attention. Sit, close your eyes. Feel the air entering and exiting your nose. Watch the thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky. Don't resist them. Don't judge them. Just watch. That simple practice is rewiring your brain, strengthening the circuits of calm, resilience, and clarity. When you combine mindfulness with movement, light, and intention, you become unstoppable. You no longer wake up and hope for peace. You create it. You no longer seek focus. You train it. And the results are not just internal. They show up in your work, your relationships, your creativity, and your health. Because when your nervous system is grounded, your potential is unleashed. Mindfulness isn't about escaping your life. It's about fully engaging with it, with depth, with attention, with heart. You begin to understand that productivity isn't just about speed. It's about presence. And presence is built in silence, in breath, in awareness. Not once a year, but every morning, every day, until it becomes who you are. When you wake up in the morning, your body has already been fasting for 6 to 8 hours. Your brain, which is made up of nearly 75% water, has been working through the night, regulating hormones, consolidating memory, and performing essential cleanup operations through a system called the glymphatic system. But now it's morning. You're awake, and your brain is asking one essential question: will you give me what I need to operate at my best? That question is answered not with a motivational speech, not with caffeine, but with what you put into your body, starting with hydration and nutrition. Water is the foundation of brain function. Before coffee, before food, before noise, your body needs hydration. The moment you drink water in the morning, you initiate a chain of biological events that improve blood flow, oxygen delivery, and electrical communication in your nervous system. Every thought you have, every word you speak, every decision you make is facilitated by electrical impulses. And those impulses are transmitted across neurons that rely on water to function properly. Dehydration slows these transmissions. Even a 1-2% loss in hydration can significantly reduce cognitive performance, focus, and reaction time. That's why the first thing you do when you wake up should be to drink water, ideally 12 to 16 ounces. You're not just quenching thirst. You're activating your mind. You're energizing your cells. You're telling your brain, I'm ready. Add a pinch of sea salt or electrolytes if needed, especially if you've been sweating or if you drink caffeine, which is a diuretic. This is a small action, but it carries enormous benefits. Hydration doesn't just prevent fatigue. It prevents confusion, irritability, and sluggishness. It helps your brain fire cleanly, like a well-oiled machine. Then comes fuel. And here, the mistake most people make is thinking food is just about avoiding hunger. But food is chemistry. It communicates with your body. The nutrients you ingest either support clarity or cloud it, either promote energy or drain it. And the brain, being one of the most energy-hungry organs in the body, consumes about 20-25% of your total daily energy. What you give it each morning determines how well it performs throughout the day. A high-sugar breakfast, a processed meal, or skipping food entirely can lead to blood sugar crashes, mood swings, and mental fatigue. But a balanced breakfast, rich in protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates, gives your brain the raw materials it needs to thrive. Protein especially is vital in the morning. It provides amino acids, the building blocks for neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, chemicals responsible for motivation, focus, and mood. When you skip protein, you're not just skipping fuel, you're skipping the molecules that help you stay sharp and emotionally balanced. Combine protein with healthy fats like avocado, nuts, or eggs, and you create slow burning energy. Add complex carbohydrates like oats, fruit, or whole grains, and you supply glucose, the brain's primary energy source, in a stable way that won't cause spikes or crashes. This isn't about perfection, it's about intention. If all you do is hydrate and eat something balanced in the morning, you are already ahead of most people walking into the day dehydrated, underfueled, and unfocused. This simple act of nourishing yourself becomes a form of leadership. You are leading your biology. You are sending a clear message to your body. I respect the machine. I fuel the mission. And that respect shows up in the way you think, the way you speak, and the way you handle pressure. Energy is not just something you're born with. It's something you generate. And the most reliable way to generate energy isn't by reaching for stimulants or pushing through fatigue. It's by giving your brain what it actually needs. Hydration and nutrition are not luxury habits. They are survival tools. Tools for performance. Tools for mental resilience. When you get this right, everything else becomes easier. You think faster. You regulate your emotions better. You stay present longer. You create more with less effort. And if you've ever struggled with anxiety, brain fog, or burnout, this might be your answer. Because when the brain is undernourished or dehydrated, it becomes more reactive. You might feel like you're emotionally off or mentally scattered, but the root cause might be biological. You might be running a high-performance engine on low-quality fuel, or worse, no fuel at all. And the fix is so simple: water first, food second, caffeine later. Not the other way around. Coffee can be a great tool, but only when used wisely. Drinking it before hydrating puts more stress on your adrenal system. Drinking it without food can spike cortisol unnecessarily. But if you hydrate first and eat first, your body is ready to use caffeine effectively without the crash. You're not just reacting to energy, you're regulating it. Think of this like training. Each day, when you hydrate and eat intentionally, you're reinforcing a behavior loop. Over time, this loop becomes automatic. You don't think about it. You just do it, and the benefits keep compounding. Your focus deepens, your mood stabilizes, your discipline sharpens, your health improves. And it all begins with what you put in your body before the world demands anything from you. There's power in simplicity. You don't need complicated biohacks. You don't need exotic supplements. You need water. You need nutrients. You need consistency. That's how you build a mind and body that perform when it matters. That's how you stop surviving and start optimizing. Because in the end, your brain is not just an organ. It's your command center. It controls everything: your thoughts, your choices, your goals, your emotions. If your command center is weak, everything else wobbles. But if your command center is strong, hydrated, nourished, and ready, you become unstoppable. You move through your day with clarity. You think with speed. You respond with strength. And all of that starts with how you fuel the first hour of your morning. There is a powerful truth that often goes unnoticed in the journey of personal growth. Your life is not shaped by what you occasionally do, but by what you repeatedly do. It's not the grand gestures or the once-a-month motivation that define you. It's the small, consistent actions you take every single day. And when those actions are repeated long enough, they stop being just habits. They become part of who you are. Your identity shifts. You no longer have to force the behavior because the behavior becomes natural. And when identity changes, destiny follows. Every action you take casts a vote for the kind of person you want to become. When you get up early, when you drink water instead of skipping hydration, when you train your focus through mindfulness or energize your body through movement, you are reinforcing a deeper message to yourself. This is who I am. And the brain, being the incredible machine that it is, begins to believe you. Your nervous system doesn't just run on intention, it runs on repetition. The more you repeat something, the easier it becomes neurologically. That's how habits form. That's how identities are built. Consistency is not about perfection. It's about showing up even when it's not convenient, especially when it's not convenient. Because that's where the real change happens, not when it's easy, but when it's hard and you do it anyway. That's when your mind learns that discipline is stronger than mood. That commitment is stronger than comfort. And that growth is not about how fast you move. It's about how often you return. Return to the breath. Return to the process. Return to the path again and again until the path becomes home. Most people try to change their life by setting goals. But goals don't change lives, systems do. And systems are built on consistent behavior. You can write down all the goals in the world, but if your daily habits don't align with those goals, they're just wishes. What matters more than what you want is what you're willing to do every day to move toward it. That's where the real transformation happens. Not in the outcome, but in the daily input. And the beautiful part is this: every time you act in alignment with the person you want to become, even in a small way, you are closing the gap between who you are and who you're meant to be. You don't have to overhaul your life in one dramatic leap. You just need to take the right steps repeatedly, show up for 5 minutes, move your body, practice mindfulness, eat clean, stay hydrated. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be consistent. That consistency builds confidence. And confidence is not built by telling yourself you're capable. It's built by showing yourself. When you say, I'll do it, and then you do, your self-trust grows. And with every repetition, you become more grounded in your own power. You stop looking outside for permission. You stop doubting your ability to change. Because you've already proven it to yourself, one small act at a time. And here's the truth: identity is the most powerful driver of behavior. When you believe you are someone who exercises daily, you will protect that habit. When you believe you are someone who manages stress with calm, you will seek out practices that support that calm. When you believe you are someone who shows up with discipline, you will not negotiate with laziness. It becomes part of your operating system. Not because someone told you, but because you built it through repetition, through effort, through consistency. But it doesn't happen overnight. At first, your mind will resist the old identity. The one tied to comfort, procrastination, or doubt will try to pull you back. That's normal. That's biology trying to conserve energy. But every time you push through that resistance, you weaken the old self and strengthen the new one. That's how transformation happens. Not in explosions, but in evolution, quietly, daily, repetitively. And the longer you stay consistent, the more momentum you build. What once felt hard becomes automatic. What once required discipline becomes part of your natural rhythm. That's when you know a habit has become identity. You don't have to remind yourself to act. You just do. You don't have to fight for it. It's already who you are. And the results compound. You think sharper. You feel better. You move through the world with more power because your identity is aligned with your values. This is why morning rituals are so important. They are identity training. Each action you take in the morning, whether it's getting sunlight, taking a cold shower, moving your body, practicing silence, eating intentionally, is casting votes for the type of person you want to be. And because these actions are done first thing in the day, they set the psychological tone. You start the day as the person you want to be, which makes it easier to stay in alignment throughout the day. You begin your morning with momentum, and that momentum becomes your advantage. But remember, consistency isn't about never missing a day. It's about never giving up. If you fall off, get back on. If you skip a step, take the next one. The path is always there. What matters is that you return to it. Not because you have to, but because you've decided this is who you are now. You are someone who takes care of your mind, your body, your purpose. You are someone who honors your future by acting with intention today. And this is how destiny is written, not with giant leaps, but with quiet steps taken daily in the right direction. When your habits reflect your values and your values shape your identity, your path becomes inevitable. You don't need to chase success. You simply become the kind of person success naturally flows to. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's consistency. So if you want to change your life, don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait for motivation to strike. Just begin. Begin with one small, simple act. Do it every day. Let that act remind you of who you are becoming. Let that identity guide your choices. Let those choices shape your future. Because in the end, who you become is not decided in a single moment. It's decided in the moments you repeat, one morning at a time, one habit at a time, until that habit becomes identity. And that identity becomes your destiny.